Life is filled with moments inspired by creative thought. The world is a better place because individuals have opened their minds to new, innovative ideas. Creativity is sought in many areas of life. Books, music, art, dance, business opportunities, conversations, and hobbies. Here at the Lancaster Creative Factory, creative expression is alive in many forms: painting, sculpture, and pottery. People pursue creativity within themselves, and teachers often encourage it in their students and the work they produce. But that leads to the question, can people train themselves to be creative, or is it just something that happens, something like natural inspiration? Many times people are told to be creative. Teachers may say this to students, but do they explain to them what creativity is, how to be creative, or provide them with creativity training? Research, theories, and books on the subject of creativity are plentiful. Not everyone agrees that it can be taught, but at the very least, students should have an awareness that creativity goes beyond just tell me more. The Williams model for creativity has teachable strategies that can be applied in classroom environments. Teachers who wish to instill creative thought can examine the skill areas and personality traits that foster creativity. The skill areas that can be practiced include fluency, flexibility, originality, and elaboration. Fluency is the search for quantity, not quality. Brainstorming is a well-recognized strategy often used to encourage fluency. The key is to make as many connections to a topic as possible. The more outrageous and unique, the better. It is not a time for evaluation or judgment, but rather a time to let thoughts roam freely, form random connections, and build new relationships between concepts. Creativity begins when an individual can no longer easily come up with a reply, when the brain must search for a new idea to keep going.
All right, we already reviewed the rules for brainstorming, and I want you to be as creative as you can, come up with ideas outside of the box. And the topic we're going to work with this morning is ships. And I'm going to give you a minute to think about different kinds of ships. I'm going to write it down as you give me your response. We're going to go right around the class. And as soon as I get done writing the first person's word on the board, you're going to give me the next word. Okay, Megan.
Cruise ship.
Starship.
Battleship. Shipwreck. Man.
UPS.
You guys did a really wonderful job with that. Now, which one up there do you think was the most unusual?
Flexibility is the ability to change categories or direction with an idea. It happens when an issue is examined from a different viewpoint or a thought applied to a new content area or concept. The Future Problem-Solving Competition recommends looking at concepts with the following suggested list of categories or viewpoints. If this list is available during a brainstorming session, it can also help initiate transfer of thought to create unusual connections. Another way to practice flexible thinking is to compare two random objects that would not normally be put together and look for common attributes or differences. This technique is called force fit.
Today we're going to do a force fit activity. That means we're going to take two things you don't normally put together and we're going to force them together. Today our topic is going to be turkey and teddy bear. So I want you to think about the ways they're alike and come up with some ideas. Who has some ideas? Davis.
They both have stuffing.
Both have stuffing, good one. And Megan.
They both have feet.
Both have feet. AJ?
They both are animals.
Both animals. Jackie.
They both have tails.
Both have tails. You had a good one too.
They both start with the letter T.
Great job. I really liked your force fit ideas.
Understanding the attributes of objects being compared is a prerequisite skill for building analogous relationships. This type of reasoning often demonstrates flexible thinking skills. It draws parallel relationships between objects based on their attributes. Creative and gifted individuals often think in analogies. They draw visual connections in their minds between ideas and concepts they have already learned, with new information being presented. There may be more than one correct answer to an analogy, and the open-endedness of the activity encourages unusual connections. By using future problem-solving competition categories, students can practice flexible thinking.
Okay, today we're going to do some flexible thinking by looking at some analogies. Red is to anger as blue is to, Brooks?
Calm.
Calm, good answer. Okay. Red is to debit as black is to?
Credit.
Credit. Red is to orange as blue is to?
Purple.
Thank you, Abby. Good job, guys.
Originality is the ability to think of a novel idea. It does not have to be new to the world, but rather new to the individual who conceived of the idea. Both fluency and flexibility help form a basis for original thought. It often comes as that aha moment when suddenly everything makes sense or falls into place. An example of a famous creative aha experience occurred in 1865 when a German chemist, Friedrich August Kekule, proposed the solution to a complex chemical problem. At the time, scientists had not been able to determine how the number of carbon and hydrogen atoms could combine in the ratios that they did. One night, Kekule dreamt of 6 snakes in a circle, each one biting the tail of the snake ahead of it. Kekule applied this to the problem and discovered that the benzene ring was the answer.
Unbelievable.
Germination time is vital. Creativity cannot be forced or developed on demand. This problem was solved when Kekule's mind was relaxed and had mulled over a problem for a period of time. Teachers should keep this in mind and build germination time into assignments whenever possible. Elaboration is based on expanding a concept, drawing, or idea. It is the skill that teachers most frequently associate with helping students achieve creative thought in the classroom. Teachers often ask students to tell me more, use your senses, fill in the details. Teachers are actually asking students to be more fluent, flexible, and original without providing students the practice and these skills that support this type of thinking. Elaboration takes practice and requires both divergent and convergent thought. Creative exercises in the divergent area, such as brainstorming, are often more common. These activities practice spreading ideas to new approaches or different concepts. However, convergent thinking, narrowing the field and looking at it in depth, such as with a common object, is also a necessary skill. This is engineering-type thinking. It focuses on a topic in a deliberate, organized, logical, and sequential manner that is explicit and avoids closure to a subject. Photographers and artists frequently use this approach when they narrow the field of vision to a specific part of an object. Fluency, flexibility, originality, and elaboration are the skill areas emphasized in the Williams model. In addition to these mental processes, creativity also taps into an individual's emotions and personality traits. These affective abilities build a comfort level with using the skills just discussed and include risk-taking, curiosity, complexity, and imagination. Now, let's take a look at risk-taking. Risk-taking involves sharing creative thoughts and ideas. For example, when brainstorming, it might be stressful for students to switch categories and risk saying a new concept that others in the group have not considered.
Okay, why are plants important to us? Amelia.
They give us food.
I love your answer. That was a great response. Does anybody have any other reasons?
Please,
why
please,
plants
please
are
don't call on
important
me.
to us? Think of some different connections that you can make.
She's not gonna like this at all.
Megan, how about you?
If
there weren't any flowers, the world wouldn't smell as good as it does?
That's great. That's a good example of making connections that we don't usually make.
Building confidence to share and being open to different ideas are vital to building a creative environment in the classroom. Creativity thrives in an open environment that will accept a novel idea. To develop this safe environment gradually, students can be provided with think time before asking for a response, or given the chance to write down responses prior to verbal sharing. Curiosity leads to questioning everything in depth. Questioning skills definitely provide a foundation for creative thought and lead to both the divergent and convergent mindset for unusual thinking. As a class, it is important to develop the inquisitive mind and questioning skills. There are many websites devoted to these skills, categorizing questions into different approaches. Let's look at an example of how the basic who, what, when, where, why, and how can derive a deeper understanding and broader range of comprehension.
Okay, this year we're going to study American history, and I'd like to know what you're interested in and what you want to learn about so that we can make sure we hit a broad span of ideas. Okay, so I'd like to start with some basic questions. Is there anybody in class who has a good who question? Okay, Jackie?
Who was the first assassinated president?
Okay, and to make that a little more open-ended, maybe we want to also find out why he was assassinated with that, okay? Who has a good what question?
What started World War I?
What started World War I? Lots of answers to that one we'll have to look for. A when question.
When did baseball become America's national pastime?
I can see why you asked that question, okay? And a why. Abby?
Why did the citizens of America pick George Washington to be the first president?
That's an interesting question because how did they even know who he was without telephones and TV? A how question.
How did the Battle of Gettysburg begin?
I like that question. There'll be a lot of multiple answers to that. And a where question. Peyton?
Where did the Civil War take place?
Okay, these are great questions, and your curiosity has shown that we can look at things from a very different point of view.
Teachers should be role models for this type of open-ended questioning in the classroom, trying to avoid questions that have only one correct answer. Peer coaching and peer observations can help track improvement in this area over time. Complexity requires thinking about involved process. To have complex thought, two or more concepts are joined together in a way that makes it difficult to look at them in isolation. Complex abilities allow the mind to juggle the interconnectivity of many different systems at the same time. It grasps the impact that one system may have on another, like a huge spider web with many threads leading in different directions. Creativity thrives on these inner and interconnections, building new connections while considering the impact on each individual component. One skill that can build complex thinking is creative problem solving, which is based on real-world problems or messy situations. These types of problems cannot be considered in isolation since there are social, legal, ethical, and political issues that create a complex web of thought. Although there are many proposals for the problem-solving process, most proposed methods usually recommend the following steps. Research and brainstorm the issues. Clarify the problem or one issue that underlies the messy situation. Brainstorm solutions. Establish criteria to evaluate the solutions presented. Select a solution based on set criteria. Test and evaluate the solution. Complexity can involve many other skill areas, such as leadership, setting priorities, and ethical issues. The connectivity between these issues provides opportunities for creative thought. Imagination goes beyond just being original with an idea. Imagination is closely linked to intuitive ideas that are just felt in the gut. Imagination is a door into the world of things that are possible, sometimes with a twist of humor, and definitely with opportunities for the unique.
Okay, in order to do this role play today, we're going to imagine a situation of bullying. So I'd like to have Brooks and Megan come up. Okay, in this role play, Megan, you're going to be the victim. Brooks, you're going to be the bully. And you're going to try to take Megan's homework away from her.
Give me your homework.
But I need to turn it in still.
Your grades are better than mine. I need it more.
All of these techniques can lead to good, creative discussions. Risk-taking, curiosity, complexity, and imagination can all be nurtured in a safe, open classroom. Innovation starts when novel ideas are accepted and encouraged. In summary, creativity might be part inspiration and part intuition, but it can also be cultivated through skill development. Our 21st century world requires minds that can be, among other things, innovative, critical, and analytical. Problems are awaiting solutions, and creative minds can tackle those problems with ingenuity and fresh perspectives. Future modules in this series will look at stages in the creative process, strategies for encouraging creativity, and building creative thought into the reading and math curriculum. This is Janice Estabrook. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.